Hello everyone, I just saw Blow Up, the film Blow Up for class in class. What an odd little film. The story is basically because I'll get to that later. The basic plot is that a photographer takes a photo of this woman and guy in a park, and she is obsessed about getting the photos. She doesn't want the photos in anyone else's hands. She doesn't want them shown something. You don't know why. And then there's something about a murder that he discovers in the photos. It's kind of a mess. Um, and I don't really want to ruin it if you do want to see it. So I'll just leave it at that. It's about a photographer and some photos he takes and a woman that comes in. That's the basic gist of it. And the main actor, the good part was the best part of the film was the main actor, the main character, who is just so obsessed with photography and art. Like there's a scene where he just goes into an antique shop and buys a propeller, and you don't know why, and it's never explained why. It never comes up again in the story, but he says, "I must have it today. I cannot live without it." Is the exact line. So he's obsessed. He's kind of crazy in a few scenes. He's just kind of off the walls, doing whatever seems artistic, I guess. And that makes him so interesting to watch because you have no idea what he's thinking, no idea what he's going to do next. Yeah, I guess that was the main point of the film that I liked. He was so interesting to watch. The performance was great. Like I never felt like it was a normal person. I always saw that guy as crazy, so that's a good sign. Now to the downsides, there are a lot of them. Editing was really bad. A lot of there were a few sequences where the shots were just a few seconds and it was cutting really quickly. The worst part is that the audio doesn't blend at all. It doesn't fade out, fade in. So every cut, the audio will shift, and that really takes you out of whatever you were just watching. Especially there's a scene, especially I remembered at the end, where it's really quiet, and then all of a sudden it cuts to some mimes yelling, honking horns and stuff. I just realized how weird that was. The mimes were yelling. Anyway, it's really loud. So the cut is immediately you're just jarred with yelling in a car. So it could have used a lot of audio fixing that way. Also, there's no music, which in a lot of scenes helped, and in a few scenes seemed kind of weird and awkward. But overall, it wasn't a very negative thing. It was probably a style choice. The biggest thing is a ton of scenes and plots had nothing to do with the story, went out and went absolutely nowhere. They were pointless. Kind of like the propeller. It's a solid 5 minutes. There are two scenes. One where he gets the propeller. Well, actually, there's a 2 minute scene where he goes into the shop, and then another scene where he goes in again and gets the propeller, and then there's a scene where he puts the propeller in his studio, and then nothing else happens. Nothing comes of the propeller. It was just there, and it was never explained. Never had any meaning. There's a storyline of these two girls who want their photos taken, and he says no. He's kind of a jerk, and then they come back later. He lets them in for some reason, and they have sex, but never takes their photos. He kicks them out before he does, and that had nothing to do with the story. And it's just such a bizarre film because it's super slow. The story is super simple, yet it takes so much time because they throw in all these pointless scenes that do really nothing to reveal characters or further the main plot at all. So the main plot of this guy seeing a murder, perhaps. So he just takes these photos and he's examining them, and he sees someone in the shadows watching these people. Then he looks and he has a gun, and so he's like, "Oh, I saved these people, someone's life because he was going to kill them, but because I was there taking photos, they lived." But then they find a dead. Then he sees a dead body in a later photograph, a few minutes later, and I guess it was so confusing. I wasn't sure if the dead body was the guy the woman was with or what. I know I said I didn't want to spoil the plot, but I just did. I don't even care. Um, one of the weird parts was there was. Okay, I should put it this way. What I could imagine as symbolism was so mild, I didn't know if it was supposed to be symbolism or not. Like the mimes that I brought up earlier. They're the ending, the story ends with the guy just walking by a tennis court, and mimes are playing tennis. So, with imaginary rackets and invisible ball, the camera follows as if there's a ball being hit back and forth. Deep? Or is it just, I don't know, it has nothing to do with the plot, but it's not super bizarre, it's just mimes. So anything that was meant to be symbolism did not come across as symbolism. It came across as weird. and that sums up the entire film. Comes across as weird, not symbolic. Like I said, the main story just it has no conclusion. By the way, it just ends, and it's really surprising. It just ends. Like there's absolutely no. It's like it's halfway through the film where everything's kind of built up. Wait, there was a murder, and he finds the body, and then he goes back, and it's not there. Is he going to track down the woman? Is he going to look more the movie's over? Okay, so it was just a no ending. It wasn't even like a weird ending. There was no ending. The film was cut off, ended. Despite all this, I enjoyed myself immensely watching it, and I have no idea why. I think it was the main actor for being so weird and intriguing, but I really did enjoy watching it. I was wondering what was going to happen next almost every second. Like I was always interested in what was going on, even if nothing actually went on. You know, in the end, nothing actually happened. So yeah, it's not. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, and I wouldn't recommend. I don't regret seeing it. I enjoyed watching it, but I don't think it's a very good movie, and I wouldn't recommend you see it. Yet I still enjoyed it, and I'm glad I saw it. It's a very weird film, and the film itself and how it affected me. So final score, we'll just get to it for Blow Up is a C minus, just a little bit below okay, because you know there are just the random plots that go nowhere. There is no actual story wrap up, so you feel like it was all the kind of the entire film was not really meaningful because there is no conclusion. But the main character was good. I was really interested, and the premise is great. You know, kind of someone's photos that seem innocent at the time turn into kind of a murder thing. I wish that was expanded because that'd be cool if this guy gets, you know, he takes photos unknowingly and gets caught up in like a conspiracy about what he took, and that would have been really interesting. But it gets to like the brink of that, and then the movie ends, like I said. So I expected this to be a short review, but it's a long one. So there you go, C minus, Blow Up. Not great, but I enjoyed it, and it's weird. So I will talk to you later.